Okay, we need to talk. We're doing a critical briefing on a health crisis that is absolutely exploding right now in 2026. It's all about our kidneys and a silent emergency that has quietly become one of the biggest health challenges on the planet. Let's get right into it.
Let's start with a number, and it's a big one, 850 million. That's roughly how many people right now are living with kidney disease around the world. It's a number so huge it's hard to even wrap your head around, and it's why this is no longer a niche problem. It's a global red alert.
And behind that number is the real human cost. Get this, every 20 seconds, another person dies from chronic kidney disease. That's more than 1.5 million people every year. While we're getting better at fighting things like heart disease, kidney disease deaths are actually on the rise.
So you have to ask, right? How did we get here? How did a disease that most people don't even feel, a condition with almost no early symptoms, spiral into a full-blown global emergency? That's the question we're going to unpack right now.
So first up, we've got to understand the true scale of this crisis, and maybe more importantly, why it's been so easy for so many to miss.
Let's bring this home for a second. In the United States alone, more than 1 in every 10 adults is walking around with chronic kidney disease. That's 37 million people. This isn't some far-off problem. It's right here in our neighborhoods, in our families. But here's the part that should really scare you. 90%. 9 out of 10 of those people have no idea they have it. This is what we call the awareness gap. Our kidneys are amazing at compensating for damage, until they just can't anymore. By then, it's often way too late.
And if you look here, you can see one of the biggest drivers, age. For younger adults, the risk is around 6%, but once you get over 65, it skyrockets to 34%. That's more than 1 in 3 people. As our world population gets older, this crisis gets bigger. It's that simple. And it's all connected to these other massive health issues. A staggering 38% of adults with diabetes also have kidney disease. Same goes for 21% of adults with high blood pressure. You see, the kidney is right at the crossroads of our body's health.
Okay, so we've got a handle on the scale of the problem. Now let's talk about the science. To really get what's going wrong, you have to appreciate the incredible machine that is the human kidney.
Calling it just a filter doesn't do it justice. A better way to think about it is as your body's main chemical processing plant. It's managing waste, yeah, but it's also balancing your body's fluids and playing this huge role in controlling your blood pressure.
And one of its most critical jobs is running this thing called the RAS system. It's pretty amazing. When your kidneys sense your blood pressure is too low, they shoot out an enzyme called renin. That kicks off this chain reaction that makes a super powerful hormone that literally tightens your blood vessels to bring your pressure back up. It's a brilliant design, but when it runs wild, it can cause a lot of damage.
And it's not always a slow, chronic decline. Sometimes kidneys take a direct hit, a sudden, acute injury. This could be from a big drop in blood flow, like in sepsis, or direct damage from certain medicines, or even just a blockage from something like a kidney stone. And we now know these acute hits are a major doorway to developing chronic disease down the road.
But here's where the story takes a turn. Because this isn't just about the problem. The big story in 2026 is also one of incredible hope and truly revolutionary new ways to fight back.
And this is the fundamental change, the real game changer. For decades, all we could really do was manage the symptoms of kidney failure. But today, right now, we have drugs that can actually slow down the disease itself. That's a whole new ballgame.
And this is the modern arsenal right here, the 4 pillars of kidney protection. We've got SGLT2 inhibitors to protect the kidney's filters. We have drugs like finerenone that stop harmful scarring. We have GLP-1s like semaglutide that protect the organ. And we've even got new oral meds for the anemia that comes with CKD. It's a multi-front attack that is really changing people's lives.
And if we look just a little bit into the future, well, it starts to sound like science fiction. What if we didn't have to just slow the disease? What if we could actually build a whole new kidney?
This is what's happening on the xenotransplantation frontier. It's moving so fast. In 2025, we saw the very first human trials of pig kidneys. We saw a patient live for 271 days with one. And now, in 2026, scientists are working on tech to basically erase the blood type from donor organs, creating a universal donor kidney. The pace of this is just breathtaking.
And this kind of progress is rewriting the future for anyone on dialysis, which for so long has felt like a bridge to nowhere. The next wave of artificial kidneys are promising a life that's continuous,
liberating, and totally free from the old, restrictive way of doing things.
And these aren't just ideas on paper. These are real projects happening now. You've got the Holly device, a filter you can fully implant. The Kidney Project at UCSF is building a bio-artificial kidney using actual human cells. There's even portable waterless dialysis being developed. The goal here is to make kidney failure a manageable condition, not a life sentence.
Okay, so with all this incredible science, let's bring it all back down to earth. What does this mean for us as individuals? How can this knowledge actually empower us to take control of our kidney health?
This slide is so important, especially when it comes to alternative medicine. On the one hand, things like curcumin show some real anti-inflammatory promise. But on the other, there are herbs with stuff like aristolochic acid that are just flat-out toxic to kidneys. Even something common like St. John's wort can mess with life-saving transplant drugs. You have to be so careful and so informed. And nutrition is just full of these weird counterintuitive rules. Take the dialysis paradox. Before you start treatment, you want a low-protein diet to ease the load on your kidneys. But the moment you start dialysis, you have to flip to a high-protein diet to avoid malnutrition. It really shows you how precise and personalized this all has to be.
Which leads us to the final and honestly the most critical question of all. The science has arrived. We have the drugs, we have the technology. But how do we get it to all 850 million people who need it? How do we close that terrifying 90% awareness gap and make sure these breakthroughs are affordable and accessible to everyone on the planet? That is the question that's going to define this fight for the next decade.